In a world where royal gestures are carefully orchestrated and public appearances meticulously planned, sometimes the most powerful moments happen when no one expects them. On an ordinary Tuesday morning, what began as a simple birthday video became an extraordinary display of love that would remind the world why some fairy tales never lose their magic. As cameras rolled for what should have been a routine royal birthday message, Princess Catherine unconsciously touched the sapphire and diamond ring on her finger, the same ring that once belonged to Princess Diana. In that single, unguarded moment, she unknowingly created a connection between past and present that would move millions to tears and remind everyone watching that behind the crowns and protocols, the greatest royal story of all is simply a love story between two people who found each other against all odds. The early morning light filtered through the tall windows of Kensington Palace as Catherine, Princess of Wales, sat quietly in her private study, a steaming cup of tea growing cold on the mahogany desk beside her. It was March 15th, and the palace corridors buzzed with the familiar energy of another royal engagement day. However, this particular morning held special significance. It marked Prince William's 41st birthday, and Catherine had planned something deeply personal for the man she had loved for over 2 decades. The idea had come to her during a quiet moment the previous week while watching old family videos with their 3 children. George, Charlotte, and Louis had been laughing at footage of their father attempting to bake a cake during the early days of lockdown, flour covering every surface of their kitchen. In that moment, Catherine realized how precious these unguarded, authentic moments were, not just for their family, but for the people who had supported them throughout their journey from university sweethearts to future king and queen. Catherine's personal assistant, Jenny, knocked softly before entering the study. "Your Royal Highness, the camera crew is setting up in the blue drawing room as requested. They estimate another 20 minutes before everything is ready." Catherine nodded, her fingers unconsciously playing with the magnificent sapphire and diamond engagement ring that had become as much a part of her as breathing. The ring, once worn by Princess Diana, held stories of its own, tales of love, loss, hope, and the enduring power of family bonds. As she made her way through the palace corridors, Catherine's mind wandered to the early days of her relationship with William. She remembered the nervous excitement of their first public appearances, the way her hands would shake slightly whenever photographers were present. Now, nearly 15 years later, those same hands moved with practiced grace, yet they still carried the genuine warmth that had first captured William's heart during their university days at St. Andrews. The blue drawing room had been transformed into an intimate setting. Soft lighting created a warm atmosphere, while fresh flowers, peonies and roses, Catherine's favorites, added touches of natural beauty. The camera operator, Sarah, had worked with the royal family on numerous occasions and understood the delicate balance between capturing genuine moments and maintaining the dignity expected of royal documentation. "We'll keep this very natural, Your Royal Highness," Sarah explained as she adjusted the final camera angle. "Just speak from your heart, as you always do. The prince will love whatever you share." Catherine smiled, appreciating the woman's understanding. In a world where every public word was analyzed and scrutinized, finding moments of authentic connection had become increasingly precious. Catherine took her position, smoothing her elegant navy dress, a color she knew William particularly loved on her. The dress was simple yet sophisticated, chosen specifically because it reminded her of the outfit she had worn during one of their first official photographs as an engaged couple. She had learned over the years that sometimes the smallest details carried the greatest meaning. As the camera began recording, something magical happened. Instead of the formal birthday message she had initially planned, Catherine found herself speaking directly to William as if he were sitting across from her in their private sitting room. Her voice carried the warmth of shared memories and the tenderness of a love that had grown stronger through both joyful celebrations and difficult challenges. "My darling William," she began, her voice soft but clear, "as you celebrate another year of life today, I find myself thinking about all the moments that have brought us to where we are now." As she spoke, her hands moved naturally, and the engagement ring caught the soft lighting, creating tiny rainbow reflections that danced across the walls. Catherine spoke about their journey together, from those early days of keeping their relationship private while finishing their studies, to their engagement announcement that had captured the world's attention, to building their family and taking on royal responsibilities together. She shared memories of quiet Sunday mornings with their children, of William's dedication to his charitable work, of the way he still made her laugh until her sides ached. "You've grown into the man I always knew you could be," Catherine continued, her voice filled with genuine pride. The way you've honored your mother's memory while creating your own path, the patience and love you show our children, the strength you found in carrying forward your family's legacy, all of these things make me fall in love with you over and over again. As she spoke these words, Catherine's right hand gestured naturally, and the camera captured the full beauty of Diana's engagement ring as it moved. The sapphire seemed to glow with an inner light, surrounded by the brilliant diamonds that had witnessed decades of royal history. In that moment, without planning or intention, Catherine created a visual bridge between past and present that would resonate with millions of viewers. She talked about their children, how George was developing William's sense of responsibility and natural leadership, how Charlotte had inherited her father's mischievous smile and quick wit, how Louis brought endless joy and laughter to their family with his spirited personality. Catherine's eyes lit up as she shared these intimate glimpses into their private life, revealing the man behind the royal title. "The children adore you," she said with a gentle laugh, "even when you're trying to help with homework and getting more confused than they are. They see what I see, a father who shows up, who listens, who makes them feel secure and loved no matter what challenges our roles might bring." Catherine paused, gathering her thoughts for what she wanted to say next. The room was perfectly quiet except for the soft whir of the camera and the distant sounds of palace life continuing around them. In this moment, she felt completely connected to her purpose, not as a future queen, but as a wife celebrating the man she loved. "People often ask me what it's like being married to a future king," Catherine continued, "but they're asking the wrong question. What it's like being married to you, William, is like finding home in another person. It's knowing that no matter how public our lives become, we have something that belongs entirely to us, our love story, our family, our shared dreams for the future." The engagement ring continued to catch the light as Catherine spoke, creating moments of pure magic that the camera captured without her awareness. Each gesture told its own story, the confident way she wore Diana's ring, the natural grace with which she moved her hands as she spoke about their life together, the unconscious way she touched the ring when speaking about family and legacy. As Catherine neared the end of her message, she leaned slightly toward the camera, as if sharing a secret with William alone. "Happy birthday, my love. Here's to another year of adventures together, to watching our children grow, to serving alongside each other, and to finding new reasons to laugh together every single day. I love you more than words can express." The recording ended, but Catherine remained seated for a moment, feeling the emotional weight of what she had just shared. Sarah, the camera operator, wiped away a tear and smiled. "Your Royal Highness, that was absolutely beautiful. The prince is going to be deeply moved." As Catherine left the blue drawing room, she had no idea that this intimate birthday message would become something much larger than a personal gift to her husband. The combination of her heartfelt words, her natural grace, and the symbolic presence of Diana's engagement ring had created something that would touch hearts around the world and remind everyone why love stories, even royal ones, never go out of style. The rest of the day proceeded with typical royal efficiency, meetings with charity representatives, a review of upcoming engagements, time spent with the children before their afternoon lessons. But the morning's recording had set a tone of warmth and authenticity that carried through everything Catherine did, a reminder that even in the midst of royal duties and public responsibilities, love remains the most powerful force of all. 3 hours after the intimate birthday recording, Prince William stood in his private office at Kensington Palace, his phone in hand, watching the video Catherine had created for him. He had stepped away from his meeting with environmental conservation leaders specifically to view her surprise, and now he found himself completely overwhelmed by emotion. The familiar walls of his office seemed to fade away as he became completely absorbed in his wife's words and the love that radiated from every frame of the recording. As Catherine's voice filled the quiet space, speaking of their journey together and their shared dreams for the future, William's attention was drawn to something he hadn't expected to affect him so deeply, the way Diana's engagement ring moved so naturally on Catherine's hand, catching the light as she gestured with unconscious grace. The ring looked exactly as it belonged there, as if it had found its true purpose after years of waiting. William paused the video and set his phone down on his mahogany desk, walking to the window that overlooked the palace gardens where he and his brother Harry had played as children. The memories came flooding back, not just of his mother wearing that same ring, but of the moment he had decided to propose to Catherine with it, and the deeper meaning behind that choice. The engagement ring's journey to Catherine's finger had been far more complex and meaningful than the public ever knew. After Diana's death in 1997, her personal jewelry had been carefully preserved, with the understanding that her sons would one day decide how best to honor their mother's memory through these precious items. For years, the engagement ring had remained in a secure location, waiting for the right moment and the right purpose. When William began seriously considering proposing to Catherine during their final year at St. Andrews University, he found himself thinking not just about their future together, but about how their love story connected to the larger narrative of his family's history. The decision to use his mother's ring wasn't made lightly. It represented a bridge between past and present, a way of bringing Diana's blessing to his new beginning with Catherine. William remembered the conversation he'd had with his father, then Prince Charles, about his intention to propose with Diana's ring. Charles had been deeply moved by the choice, understanding immediately the profound statement it would make about family, continuity, and love transcending loss. "Your mother would be so happy to know that her ring will be worn by someone who loves you as completely as she did," Charles had said, his voice thick with emotion. The ring itself told a remarkable story. Created by the prestigious jewelry house Garrard in 1981, it featured a stunning 12-carat oval blue sapphire surrounded by 14 brilliant-cut diamonds, all set in 18-carat white gold. The sapphire had been chosen specifically for its deep, royal blue color, a shade that seemed to capture the depth of the ocean and the vastness of the sky all at once. Diana had selected it from a collection of engagement rings presented to her, drawn to its exceptional beauty and the way the blue stone seemed to glow within her fire. During Diana's lifetime, the ring had become one of the most photographed pieces of jewelry in the world. It had graced her hand during countless royal engagements, state dinners, and private family moments. The ring had witnessed Diana's joys and struggles, her work with charitable causes, and her devotion to her sons. In many ways, it had become a symbol not just of her engagement to Charles, but of her unique spirit and the love she brought to everything she touched. After Diana's death, William and Harry had been given the opportunity to choose personal items to remember their mother by. Harry had chosen Diana's Cartier watch, drawn to its practical elegance and the memories of seeing it on her wrist during their private moments together. William had initially selected other pieces, not yet ready to claim the engagement ring that seemed too significant for his teenage years to comprehend fully. It wasn't until William fell deeply in love with Catherine that he understood the ring's true destiny. During their courtship, as he watched Catherine's natural grace and genuine compassion, he began to see qualities in her that reminded him of his mother's best traits: the ability to connect with people from all walks of life, the strength to handle public scrutiny while maintaining personal authenticity, and the capacity for love that seemed boundless. The proposal itself had been planned with meticulous care during their romantic vacation in Kenya in 2010. William had arranged for the ring to be secretly transported to Africa, where he carried it with him for 3 weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. When that moment finally came, overlooking the serene beauty of Lake Rotundu, William had taken Catherine's hand and shared not just his love for her, but the significance of the ring he was placing on her finger. "This was my mother's engagement ring," he had said, his voice filled with emotion, "and I want you to have it because there's no one I'd rather have represent her legacy and continue her story than you." Catherine had been moved to tears, understanding immediately the profound trust and love represented by William's choice to share his mother's ring with her. Now, watching the birthday video Catherine had created, William was struck by how perfectly natural the ring looked on her hand. Over the years since their engagement, he had watched Catherine wear Diana's ring with such grace and dignity that it seemed to have been created specifically for her. The ring had become part of Catherine's identity, a symbol of her role not just as William's wife, but as a continuation of Diana's legacy of compassion and service. The way Catherine unconsciously touched or gestured with the ring during public appearances had become one of William's favorite things to observe. Unlike some royal jewelry that was worn purely for ceremonial purposes, Diana's ring had become a living part of Catherine's daily life. She wore it while playing with their children, during private family dinners, and throughout their most intimate moments together. The ring had truly come home. William returned to his desk and played the video again, this time focusing specifically on how the ring caught the light as Catherine spoke about their family and their future. The blue sapphire seemed to glow with approval, as if Diana herself was blessing the beautiful life that William and Catherine had built together. The diamonds surrounding the sapphire sparkled like stars, creating tiny rainbows that danced across Catherine's hands and reflected in her eyes. The ring's presence in the birthday video carried layers of meaning that went far beyond its obvious beauty. It represented the continuation of love across generations, the way that family bonds transcend physical presence, and the power of meaningful symbols to connect past and future. Every time Catherine wore the ring, she carried Diana's memory forward while creating new memories of her own. As William watched Catherine speak about their children in the video, he thought about how the ring would continue its journey in the years to come. One day, it might be passed down to Charlotte, carrying with it the love stories of both Diana and Catherine. Or perhaps it would find its way to one of their future daughters-in-law, continuing the tradition of love and family connection that had made it so much more than just a piece of jewelry. The engagement ring had become a symbol of continuity in a family that had experienced profound loss and remarkable resilience. It represented the truth that love doesn't end with death, but continues to grow and evolve, touching new lives and creating new stories while honoring the memories of those who came before. William's assistant knocked softly on the office door, reminding him that his next meeting was about to begin. As he prepared to return to his official duties, William sent Catherine a text message: "Thank you for the most beautiful birthday gift I could have ever received. Watching you speak with my mother's ring on your hand reminded me that some love stories are truly eternal. I love you more than words can express." The birthday video, with its intimate portrayal of love and the symbolic presence of Diana's engagement ring, had created something far more powerful than either William or Catherine had anticipated. It had reminded everyone who would eventually see it that behind the royal titles and public responsibilities were two people whose love story continued to unfold with grace, dignity, and an unshakable commitment to honoring both their present happiness and their family's cherished past. The decision to share Catherine's intimate birthday message with the world came 3 days later, during a routine communications meeting at Kensington Palace. The royal communications team had gathered to discuss upcoming engagements and public announcements when Catherine herself suggested they consider releasing the birthday video as part of their ongoing effort to show the more personal side of royal life. "I know it was meant to be private," Catherine explained to the small group of trusted advisors seated around the polished conference table, "but there was something special about that moment, something that felt bigger than just the two of us. If sharing it might bring some joy to people or help them connect with their own loved ones, then perhaps that's what we should do." William, sitting beside his wife, reached over and squeezed her hand gently. The same hand that wore his mother's ring, the hand that had moved so gracefully during the recording that it had created unexpected magic. "Catherine's right," he said, his voice filled with admiration for his wife's instinct. Sometimes the most personal moments are the ones that remind people of what's truly important in their own lives. The communications team exchanged glances, recognizing the significance of what they were discussing. Royal birthday messages were typically formal affairs, carefully scripted, professionally produced, and designed to maintain appropriate distance between the royal family and the public. What Catherine had created was something entirely different, an unguarded expression of love that happened to be captured on camera. Sarah, the videographer who had recorded the birthday message, was called in to review the technical aspects of releasing the video to the public. As she played the recording for the communications team, the room fell completely silent. Even these seasoned professionals, accustomed to managing royal image and messaging, were visibly moved by the authentic emotion Catherine had shared. "The lighting is perfect," Sarah explained, her voice slightly hushed with reverence for what she had captured. "And the way the engagement ring catches the light throughout the video creates these beautiful moments that feel almost magical. It's as if Princess Diana's presence was somehow part of the recording." The team spent the next hour discussing the best way to share the video with the public. They considered social media platforms, official websites, and partnership with news organizations. Ultimately, they decided on a multi-platform approach that would allow the video to reach as many people as possible while maintaining the dignity and authenticity of Catherine's original message. When the video was first posted on the official Kensington Palace social media accounts, the response was immediate and overwhelming. Within the first hour, thousands of comments poured in from people around the world who were deeply moved by Catherine's words and the visual beauty of the moment she had created. Emma Chen, a teacher from Vancouver, was one of the first to watch the video. She had been having a difficult week, struggling with work stress and feeling disconnected from her own marriage amid the chaos of daily life. As she watched Catherine speak about love that grows stronger through challenges and the importance of finding joy in simple moments, Emma found herself crying tears of recognition and hope. "This is what love actually looks like," Emma wrote in her comment. "Not the perfect fairy tale, but the choice to keep choosing each other every single day. Thank you for reminding me what I have with my own husband." In London, Margaret Sinclair, an elderly widow, watched the video on her tablet while sitting in the garden her late husband had planted 40 years earlier. Margaret had been married for 55 years before losing her beloved Robert the previous autumn. As she watched Catherine's engagement ring sparkle in the light, she was reminded of her own wedding ring and the lifetime of love it represented. "That ring tells the same story as my ring," Margaret murmured to herself, touching her own wedding band with gentle fingers. "Love doesn't end when someone leaves us. It continues to grow and touch new people." Margaret felt comforted by the connection between Diana's ring finding new purpose with Catherine and her own certainty that Robert's love continued to surround her even after his death. The video resonated particularly strongly with young couples planning their own weddings. Jessica and David Martinez, engaged for 6 months and deep in the stress of wedding planning, watched the video together in their small apartment in Madrid. They had been arguing about guest lists and flower arrangements, losing sight of the love that had brought them together in the first place. "Listen to how she talks about their journey," Jessica said, her hand finding David's as Catherine's voice filled their living room. "She's not talking about the perfect wedding or the perfect ring. She's talking about choosing love every day, about growing together, about building something beautiful even when life gets complicated." David nodded, feeling the tension of their recent arguments beginning to melt away. "Maybe we've been focusing on the wrong things. The wedding is just one day, but what she's talking about, that's the rest of our lives." The engagement ring's presence throughout the video created its own wave of emotional response. Royal jewelry experts and fashion commentators noted the significance of Diana's ring being featured so prominently in such an intimate moment, but the public response went far deeper than professional analysis. Women around the world found themselves looking at their own engagement rings and wedding bands with fresh eyes, thinking about the love stories these pieces represented. The way Catherine wore Diana's ring with such natural grace reminded them that jewelry, at its best, is never about displaying wealth or status, but about carrying symbols of love and connection. Maria Santos, a jewelry store owner in Sao Paulo, noticed an immediate change in her customers after the video's release. "People started coming in asking about rings with sapphires," Maria explained to her assistant. "But, more than that, they wanted to talk about the stories behind their jewelry. Women brought in their grandmother's rings to have them cleaned and reset. Men came in looking for anniversary gifts that would have meaning, not just price tags." The video's impact extended beyond individual responses to influence public discourse about love, marriage, and family in the modern world. Relationship counselors reported that couples were using Catherine's words as starting points for conversations about their own relationships and shared values. Dr. Robert Chen, a marriage therapist in Los Angeles, began incorporating discussions about the video into his practice. "Catherine talked about love that grows stronger through challenges," he explained to a client couple. "What does that look like in your relationship? How do you choose each other during difficult times?" Social media filled with personal stories inspired by Catherine's birthday message. The hashtag #LoveGrowsStronger began trending worldwide as people shared their own stories of enduring love, relationship challenges overcome, and the small daily choices that build strong partnerships. A young father in Australia posted a photo of himself helping his wife with their newborn in the middle of the night, captioned, "This is what Princess Catherine was talking about. Love isn't just the ring or the proposal. It's showing up at 3 a.m. when the baby won't sleep and your wife is exhausted. It's choosing each other in the unglamorous moments." A grandmother in Tennessee shared a photo of her engagement ring, a simple gold band with a small diamond that her husband had saved for months to afford, alongside the story of their 50-year marriage. "My ring isn't like Princess Diana's," she wrote, "but it represents the same thing, a promise to keep choosing love, no matter what life brings." The video also sparked conversations about family legacy and the ways that love transcends generations. Many viewers were moved by the symbolic connection between Diana's ring and Catherine's words about family, seeing in this moment a beautiful example of how love stories continue to unfold across time. The overwhelming positive response to the video confirmed what William and Catherine had intuitively understood. In a world often divided by politics, economics, and social issues, stories of genuine love and family connection have the power to unite people across all boundaries. The simple act of sharing an authentic moment had reminded millions of viewers of what truly matters in their own lives. As the video continued to spread across social media platforms and news outlets, its impact grew beyond entertainment or royal watching to become something approaching a cultural moment. People weren't just viewing a royal birthday message, they were being invited to reflect on their own love stories and the precious moments that defined their most important relationships. The combination of Catherine's heartfelt words and the symbolic presence of Diana's engagement ring had created something that transcended its original purpose as a private birthday gift. It had become a reminder that love, whether royal or ordinary, has the power to inspire, heal, and connect us all to our deepest hopes for happiness and belonging. 2 weeks after the birthday video's release, the ripple effects of Catherine's intimate message continued to spread far beyond social media comments and news coverage. In hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and community centers around the world, people were finding ways to translate the inspiration they had felt from watching the video into meaningful action in their own lives and communities. At St. Mary's Hospital in Dublin, Ireland, nurse practitioner Aoife O'Sullivan had been working in the cancer ward for 8 years, helping patients and families navigate some of the most difficult moments of their lives. The day after she watched Catherine's birthday video, Aoife noticed something different in how she approached her work. The way Catherine had spoken about love growing stronger through challenges resonated deeply with what Aoife witnessed every day: families drawing closer together in the face of serious illness, couples supporting each other through treatment, and parents showing incredible strength while caring for sick children. Inspired by the authentic emotion she had seen in Catherine's message, Aoife decided to create a small gesture that would help her patients feel more connected to their loved ones during long hospital stays. She began encouraging family members to record short video messages for patients who couldn't have visitors during certain treatments or isolation periods. The first video was created by Michael O'Brien for his wife Claire, who was undergoing chemotherapy. "Claire, my love," Michael said into Aoife's phone, his weathered hands clasped together nervously, "I want you to know that every day we've had together has been the greatest gift of my life. When you come home tomorrow, I'll have your favorite soup ready, and we can watch that old movie you love while you rest." The simple recording brought tears to Claire's eyes when Aoife played it for her during her treatment, providing comfort that medical care alone couldn't offer. Word of Aoife's video message program spread throughout the hospital, and soon other departments were implementing similar initiatives. The pediatric ward began encouraging children to record messages for siblings at home, while the cardiac unit started a program where patients could leave video letters for their families before major surgeries. The inspiration from Catherine's heartfelt birthday message had sparked a movement of connection and love within the hospital walls. Meanwhile, in a small town in Kansas, retired teacher Helen Morrison had been struggling with how to help her community maintain connections during a particularly harsh winter that had left many elderly residents isolated in their homes. After watching Catherine's video and being moved by the natural way she spoke about love and family, Helen was inspired to create what she called Love Letter Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, Helen would visit the local senior center and help residents write letters or record video messages for family members they hadn't seen in months. The program began with just 3 participants, but word spread quickly throughout the community. Soon, local high school students were volunteering to help with technology, and the nearby college sent communication majors to assist with recording and editing. 90-year-old Frank Kowalski was one of Helen's first participants. Frank had been married to his late wife Dorothy for 67 years before losing her the previous spring. He had been struggling with loneliness and depression until he participated in Helen's program and recorded a message for his great-granddaughter who lived across the country. "Emily, sweetheart," Frank said into the camera, his voice growing stronger as he spoke, "your great-grandmother Dorothy would have loved to see you grow up into such a beautiful young woman. I want to tell you about the day we first met, and how she wore a blue dress that reminded me of the sky on the clearest summer day." As Frank shared stories of his love story with Dorothy, something in his spirit began to heal. The act of sharing these precious memories and connecting with his family gave him renewed purpose. The video messages Helen's program created began reaching family members across the country, strengthening bonds that distance and time had strained. Adult children who hadn't called their parents in months were moved to tears by receiving these heartfelt recordings, leading to phone calls, visits, and renewed relationships. Across the ocean in Sydney, Australia, marriage counselor Dr. Patricia Lee had been working with couples for over 20 years, but she found herself thinking differently about her practice after watching Catherine's birthday video. The way Catherine had spoken about love as a choice made every day, about growing stronger through challenges rather than despite them, gave Dr. Lee new language for helping troubled couples understand the nature of lasting relationships. During a session with Mark and Sarah Chen, a couple considering divorce after 15 years of marriage, Dr. Lee played a short excerpt from Catherine's video. Listen to how she talks about falling in love over and over again, Dr. Lee suggested. She's not talking about the feelings that brought them together initially. She's talking about choosing to see the best in each other, choosing to appreciate growth and change, choosing love as an active verb rather than just an emotion. Mark and Sarah watched the clip together, holding hands for the first time in months as they listened to Catherine describe how William had grown into the man she always knew he could be. The couple began to see their own struggles not as evidence of a failed marriage, but as opportunities to choose each other again and build something stronger. "We've been focusing on everything that went wrong," Sarah said quietly, "but when was the last time we talked about everything that's still right between us?" The session became a turning point in their marriage as they began to reframe their relationship challenges as growth opportunities rather than insurmountable problems. Dr. Lee began incorporating discussions about Catherine's video into many of her sessions, finding that the authentic emotion and practical wisdom in the birthday message resonated with couples from all backgrounds. The video had become an unexpected tool for healing relationships and strengthening family bonds. In Mexico City, event planner Isabella Rodriguez had built a successful business organizing elaborate weddings and celebrations, but Catherine's video inspired her to offer something entirely different to her clients. Isabella created a new service called Love Legacy Videos, where she would help couples create intimate recordings for each other before their weddings, capturing their authentic feelings and promises in their own words. Too many couples get so caught up in the perfect dress, the perfect venue, the perfect flowers that they forget to focus on the perfect love they're celebrating, Isabella explained to her assistant Rosa. "After watching Princess Catherine speak so beautifully about her real marriage, I realized we should be helping couples create something that will matter long after the wedding cake is eaten." Isabella's first Love Legacy video clients were Carmen and Diego, a young couple planning their wedding for the following month. Instead of focusing solely on ceremony logistics, Isabella encouraged them to spend time creating personal video messages for each other, sharing their hopes for their future together and the qualities they most loved about their partner. Carmen's video for Diego brought tears to his eyes as she spoke about his kindness toward her elderly grandmother and his dream of becoming a teacher who would inspire children to love learning. Diego's message for Carmen celebrated her ability to find joy in simple moments and her strength in pursuing her dreams despite family pressure to choose a more traditional path. "These videos capture who we really are right now," Carmen said as she and Diego watched their recordings together. 20 years from now, when life has changed us in ways we can't imagine, we'll still have this reminder of why we chose each other and what we promised to protect in our relationship." Isabella's Love Legacy video service grew rapidly as word spread about the meaningful experience she was creating for couples. Wedding guests began requesting similar services for anniversary gifts, and Isabella found herself helping families create video tributes for milestone birthdays, retirements, and other significant occasions. Catherine's birthday video had inspired a business model built entirely around authentic emotional connection. Back in London, the original video continued to accumulate views and comments from people sharing their own stories of love, loss, and hope. The engagement ring's symbolic presence throughout Catherine's message had particularly resonated with women who had inherited jewelry from mothers, grandmothers, and other beloved family members who had passed away. Jewelry stores reported increased interest in vintage and inherited pieces as people began to see these items not just as accessories, but as carriers of family love stories. Restoration services experienced a surge in requests from customers who wanted to repair and reset inherited rings, bringing forgotten family treasures back to life for new generations. The birthday video had created something unexpected, a global conversation about authentic love, family legacy, and the small daily choices that build strong relationships. Catherine's simple gesture of recording a heartfelt message for her husband had reminded millions of people that the most powerful force in the world isn't found in grand gestures or expensive gifts, but in the genuine expression of love between two people who choose each other every single day. The ripple effects continued to spread, touching lives in ways that Catherine and William could never have anticipated when they decided to share their private moment with the world. The video had become proof that authenticity has the power to inspire, heal, and connect people across all barriers, creating a legacy of love that extends far beyond royal palaces to touch hearts in hospitals, homes, and communities around the globe. 6 months after Catherine's birthday video touched hearts around the world, the impact continued to unfold in ways both profound and beautifully simple. What had begun as an intimate message between husband and wife had evolved into something approaching a cultural phenomenon, inspiring changes in how people thought about love, family, and the power of authentic expression to create meaningful connection across vast distances and differences. At Kensington Palace, William and Catherine had been following the ongoing response to the video with a mixture of amazement and deep gratitude. Letters arrived daily from people sharing how the birthday message had influenced their own relationships, family dynamics, and approach to expressing love. The couple had established a tradition of reading these letters together during their Sunday morning coffee, often finding themselves moved to tears by the stories of healing and renewed connection their video had sparked. One letter that particularly touched Catherine came from a woman named Jennifer Walsh in Boston, whose marriage had been struggling after her husband David's deployment overseas. Jennifer wrote that she and David had been growing apart despite their daily phone calls and video chats, feeling like strangers going through the motions of communication without really connecting. After watching Catherine's birthday video, Jennifer decided to record her own heartfelt message for David, speaking not about logistics or daily tasks, but about the qualities she loved most about him and the dreams she held for their life together when he returned home. The video she created, inspired by Catherine's authentic emotion and natural grace, marked a turning point in their relationship. "I finally told him how proud I am of his service, how much I admire his strength in being away from everything familiar, how grateful I am for the way he calls our daughter every night even when he's exhausted," Jennifer wrote. "Your video showed me that love isn't just about saying I love you, it's about speaking the specific truths that make someone feel truly seen and valued." David's response to Jennifer's video had led to deeper conversations between them, renewed intimacy despite the physical distance, and a stronger foundation for their reunion. Their marriage, which had been hanging by a thread, was now stronger than it had ever been. Jennifer's letter concluded with a photo of her wearing her simple gold wedding band, writing, "My ring isn't as grand as Princess Diana's, but it represents the same eternal promise. Thank you for reminding me that love is a choice we make every single day." Meanwhile, the engagement ring that had played such a symbolic role in the original video continued its own journey as a bridge between generations. Charlotte, William and Catherine's daughter, had begun asking questions about the ring and the grandmother she had never met. Catherine had started sharing age-appropriate stories about Diana, using the ring as a tangible connection to family history and the power of love to transcend physical presence. "Granny Diana chose this ring because she loved the blue color," Catherine had explained to 8-year-old Charlotte as they sat together in the palace garden. "Blue was her favorite color because it reminded her of the sky and the ocean, things that are beautiful and seem to go on forever, just like love does." Charlotte had listened with rapt attention, understanding in her young way that she was part of a love story that stretched back through time and would continue long into the future. The ring had also become a source of comfort and strength for Catherine during challenging moments in royal life. When facing difficult public scrutiny or navigating complex family situations, she would often touch the ring unconsciously, drawing strength from its connection to Diana's memory and the knowledge that love had the power to overcome any obstacle. During a particularly challenging period when the royal family was dealing with intense media attention around various controversies, Catherine had found herself thinking often about the birthday video and its message of love growing stronger through challenges. She and William had made a conscious decision to focus on their family and their shared values rather than allowing external pressures to diminish their connection. One evening, as they walked through Kensington Gardens with their children, Catherine had taken William's hand and spoken quietly about the lessons they had learned from sharing their private moment with the world. "Sometimes I think about all the people who wrote to us about how the video changed their perspectives on their own relationships," she said. "It reminds me that even when everything feels overwhelming, we have something that can't be touched by public opinion or media criticism. We have each other, and we have this family we've built together." William had squeezed her hand gently, feeling the familiar presence of his mother's ring and the comfort it represented. My mother always believed that love was the most powerful force in the world, he replied. Watching how your video has inspired so many people to choose love in their own lives proves she was right. The global response to Catherine's birthday video had also influenced the royal family's approach to public communication. The authentic emotion and genuine connection the video had created led to more opportunities for the public to see the real people behind the royal titles. Subsequent royal communications began incorporating more personal elements, more authentic moments, and fewer formal barriers between the family and the people they served. This shift toward authenticity had particularly positive effects on public perception of the monarchy among younger generations. Young people who had previously seen the royal family as distant or irrelevant found themselves connecting with William and Catherine's genuine love story and their obvious dedication to family values. The birthday video had reminded everyone that beneath the crowns and protocols were real people with real emotions, real challenges, and real love for each other and their children. 1 year after the video's release, William and Catherine attended a charity gala supporting organizations that helped military families maintain connections during deployments. During their remarks, Catherine spoke about the unexpected journey that had begun with a simple birthday message. When I recorded that video for William last year, Catherine said, her voice carrying clearly through the elegant ballroom, I had no idea that sharing our love story would inspire so many others to strengthen their own relationships and family bonds. We've learned that authentic emotion has the power to transcend any barrier, whether it's distance, difference, or difficulty. As she spoke, the engagement ring caught the light from the chandeliers overhead, creating the same magical sparkle that had captivated viewers in the original video. The audience listened with rapt attention as Catherine continued, love is not a fairy tale that ends with happily ever after. Love is a choice we make every day to see the best in each other, to support each other's dreams, to grow together through whatever challenges life brings. That's the real love story, not the perfect moments, but the imperfect moments when we choose each other anyway. The charity gala raised record funds that evening, with many attendees citing the inspiration they had drawn from Catherine and William's example of authentic partnership and family commitment. The birthday video had become more than a viral moment, it had become a catalyst for positive change in how people approached their most important relationships. As the second anniversary of the birthday video approached, Catherine reflected on the unexpected legacy it had created. In her private diary, she wrote, I never imagined that speaking from my heart about my love for William would reach so many other hearts around the world. The letters we've received, the stories of renewed marriages and strengthened families, the couples who've told us our video inspired them to communicate more authentically, all of this has shown me that love truly is the universal language. The engagement ring continued to serve as a symbol of continuity and hope, connecting Diana's legacy of compassion and service with Catherine's own commitment to using her platform to strengthen families and communities. The ring had found its perfect purpose, not just as a beautiful piece of jewelry, but as a carrier of love stories that inspired others to write their own chapters of hope, commitment, and authentic connection. Years later, when relationship counselors, marriage therapists, and family advocates looked back on cultural moments that had influenced their work, Catherine's birthday video would be remembered as a turning point when public figures chose vulnerability over perfection, authenticity over image management, and love over everything else. The simple act of sharing genuine emotion had reminded the world that in an age of digital connection and social media performance, the most powerful force remained the honest expression of love between two people who chose each other every single day. The legacy of that birthday morning, when Catherine spoke from her heart while Diana's engagement ring caught the light on her finger, lived on in countless marriages strengthened, families reunited, and communities inspired to choose love over fear, connection over division, and hope over despair. In the end, the video had achieved something that no amount of formal royal communication could have accomplished. It had reminded the world that love, in all its imperfect beauty, remains the most powerful force for positive change in human experience. The engagement ring continued to sparkle on Catherine's finger, carrying forward the love stories of both Diana and Catherine while inspiring countless others to write their own chapters of enduring love and family commitment. The birthday video had become proof that when we speak from our hearts with genuine authenticity, we give others permission to do the same, creating ripples of love and connection that extend far beyond anything we could imagine.